Hey boys and girls, and welcome to another exciting episode of Music Reviews with Vince. Alright guys, today the album that I'm going to be reviewing is Avenged Sevenfold's Nightmare. Nightmare was released July 27th, 2010, I believe, and it's Avenged Sevenfold's first studio album after the death of their drummer Jimmy the Rip Sullivan. So, as you can, I guess, assume, it has a much darker feel. The band is the same with M. Shadows on vocals, Johnny Christ on bass, Sinister Gates lead guitar, Zachy Vengeance rhythm guitar, and then they have Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater on drums. So here we go with the track-by-track rundown of the album. The first track is the super hit single Nightmare, and this song has gotten like a lot of crap because people say it's like too radio friendly and like not really Avenged Sevenfold. They're just kind of like selling out, and I don't really agree with that. It does remind me a little bit of Afterlife from the self-titled album, but it's still a very good track. And I'm not sure if they added the vocals before or after the death of the Rev, but it seems like it'll be a common theme on this album and this song especially. Like there are lines that go, "Your tragic fate is looking so clear because it's your fucking nightmare." That seems to like indicate something about the death of the Rev, but that's just my opinion. The next song on the album is Welcome to the Family, and this one is one of the best songs on the album, and it's a lot harder. Well, everything on this album is kind of hard, but it's one of the harder songs on the album, and it appears to be about someone at war, and it's just a really good track. One of the best on the album for sure. Next up on the album is a track called Danger Line, and it starts out like very typical metal drumming, like the kind of, I don't know what you call them, like just drumming like rolls, I guess. I don't really know if they're called rolls if they're not on a snare, but and then the guitar comes in, and then the vocals and bass and Zachy's guitar, and it's actually a good track. Not one of the best on the album, but it's still good. Next up is another single called Buried Alive, or Buried Alive, however you choose to pronounce it. And this one, I believe, was a single too. And it's actually a very good track. It may personally be my favorite on the album. The first half is a little bit slower and softer with like everything's like slower and quieter, and like Gates' playing is a lot more like almost like Seize the Day-ish lead. And then but in the second half, like chorus bridge area, it picks up a lot, and then the second half continues. And Gates actually has two solos on it in the second half, and they blow some fucking heads off, man. Like that. This is my favorite track on the album, and it's also, I think, my favorite solo that Gates has done. Like, it's better than Bat Country or Beast in the Harlot or Second Heartbeat. It is the best solo Gates has ever done, hands down, in my opinion. So this is a great track, and this is a must listen to, even if you're not going to buy the whole album. Next up is Natural Born Killer. This isn't a great track, but it's also not a bad track. Like, there's not a whole lot to say about it. It's more or less typical of Avenged Sevenfold, and it's a pretty good track. Alright, next up is So Far Away, and this is a acoustic song with an electric lead. It's actually very, very, very similar to Seize the Day on City of Evil. It's a great track. Zaki is always good acoustic, and Sin, of course, is a great lead player. Shadows and Portnoy sound really good, and Johnny also sounds good on bass, even though bass isn't like a super staple of music. Um, their acoustic stuff is always really good. Um, this is a little bit like if you took Dear God from the self-titled album and then combined it with Seize the Day. Like it's not as great as Seize the Day, but it's better than Dear God. It's a good track, so I definitely recommend looking that one up. On God Hates Us, we find out that Shadows can actually still scream. There were rumors that he lost his ability to scream, and there are also people who said he just chose not to scream. I don't know the answer, and regardless of the answer, obviously he was screaming on God Hates Us. And it's a really, really good track. It's really hard, and it seems like they think that God almost is against them. And it's just really, really good track. The screaming is always welcome. I loved like Waking the Fallen, Avenged Sevenfold. And I'm of course welcoming anything that is reminiscent of that because in my opinion that is their best album of all time. Next up is Tonight the World Dies. This is a song that starts out much slower and then picks up, and it's a very good track. It's kind of like one of Avenged Sevenfold's staple things where they like start slow and then pick up, and it works really good on this track, and great track. Next up is Fiction. It is the final song that the Rev wrote, and it is one of his masterpieces. Fiction actually contains vocals from the Rev in it, and there are lines that suggest that he knew that he was going to die. Like, if you remember Afterlife, he said something to the effect of, "Unchain me, unbind me, I'm choking on this ecstasy, give me another chance to live," or something to that effect. And no, you may not post in the comments box what the actual lyrics go. Fiction is kind of like that. I don't know the lyrics off the top of my head, so I will post them in the next cut. But it's a great track. Some of the lyrics for Fiction go, "I hope it's worth it here on the highway. I know you'll find your own way when I'm not with you. So tell everybody, the ones who walk beside me. I hope you'll find your own way when I'm not with you tonight. I hope it's worth it what's left behind me. I know you'll find your own way when I'm not with you. So tell everybody, the ones who walk beside me. I know you'll find your own way when I'm not with you tonight." And some of these are actually sung in the Rev's voice that they had from a demo. I don't know if any of you guys read Guitar World, but in it they had an interview with Sinister Gates and Zaki Vengeance, and one of them said normally they just like mumble a melody for the vocals. They don't really sing it, but they said when the Rev did it, the vocals came like right out, and he knew exactly what he wanted to say. So it's all just very odd to me. It seems like he almost knew he was going to die. I mean, of course, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just what it seems like. And I remember in December when he died, after I listened to Afterlife a few days later, or maybe that same day, and I was like, wait, what the fuck is this? He just gave another reference to his death. So, I think he knew that he was going to die, and I think that music is his way of saying goodbye, but I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just coincidence.